Hi all. In this session, I'll discuss about Oracle TKPROF fundamentals for SQL tuning. Oracle TKPROF fundamentals for SQL tuning I'll be covering in two parts. In part 1, I will cover introduction to SQL Tracing and TKPROF, and in second part I will cover how to interpret a TKPROF report. Okay. So in the first video, I'll be covering introduction to SQL Tracing, set up SQL Trace and TKPROF, and generate TKPROF report. And in the part 2 video, I'll be covering interpreting TKPROF report. Okay, in the part 1 itself, we'll enable SQL Tracing and generate a TKPROF report, and in second part, I will be interpreting a TKPROF report, the basic interpretation. Okay. So why we need SQL Tracing and TKPROF? Okay, once you enable the SQL Tracing in your database level or your session level, it records many vital info regarding query execution into a trace file. It writes query execution statistics like a number of logical I/O, physical I/O, the CPU time, elapsed time, number of rows processed, and also the query plan with row counts at each level, information on the wait events, and lots of other info are captured. Okay, and when I say the query plan, that means the actual query plan that was used to execute the query. Okay, so as in trace file, lots of informations are dumped. It's a bit difficult to read, and using TKPROF utility, you can generate readable report from the trace file, which is bit easier to translate. Okay, once you turn on the SQL tracing, it records value information on the executed SQL statements like parse count, execute count, fetch count, CPU time, elapsed time, physical reads and logical reads, number of rows processed, misses on the library cache, optimizer mode, parsing user ID, number of planned statistics captured, each commit and rollback, wait event data for each SQL statement, row source operation showing the actual execution plan for each SQL statement. It shows the plan shows number of rows, number of consistent read, physical reads, number of physical writes, and time elapsed for each operations, and also cost and bytes. Okay, all these informations are captured by SQL tracing and dumped into a trace file. So to enable SQL tracing, uh, there are some related parameters and some commands. First, we'll talk about SQL underscore trace. So SQL underscore trace is true or false based on your SQL tracing is enabled or not. By default, it's false. User dumpdest. What is the destination of your trace file? You can know from your parameter file user dumpdest. Okay. Max dump file size. What will be the maximum size of the trace file? And the vital one, time statistics. This enables or disables the collection of time statistics such as CPU and elapsed times and various statistics from the dynamic performance tables. This value can be true or false. Before enable SQL tracing, you need to enable the time statistics so that those vital info are gathered into the trace file. Otherwise, if you don't enable the time statistics, then these statistics such as CPU and elapsed times and some other statistics also will not be captured. Okay, so now we'll be enabling SQL tracing. To enable SQL tracing, there are many various ways. In database level, you can use dbms underscore monitor.database trace enable. For session level, you can use dbms monitor.session trace enable, dbms session.session trace enable, or dbms session.set SQL trace, or alter session set SQL trace equal to true. There are various other ways also. Okay, so we'll enable our tracing now. Okay, and this is the command dbms monitor dot database trace enable. You can pass parameters like waits true, binds true, and instance name. This is for the database level. In like waits true, that means the wait event info will be captured. Binds to, that means info related to bind variables will be captured. Okay, and using dbms monitor dot session trace enable, you can capture status I mean, you can enable the SQL tracing for some other sessions by providing the session ID serial number. Okay, and using dbms session dot session trace enable, you can enable your SQL tracing at your own session level. For using dbms monitor dot session trace enable, you must have the DBA privilege. Okay, using dbms monitor dot session trace enable, you can enable SQL tracing for your own session or any other session. Okay, and there is also the older way, like alter session set SQL trace equal to true. Okay, and for disabling, you have the procedures like dbms monitor dot session trace disable. Okay, or dbms session dot session trace disable. Okay, now we'll first we'll to set up TKPROF and SQL tracing. We'll first I will set a trace file identifier. Okay, this will be my trace file identifier. Using that, I can identify the trace files from the dump directory easily. Okay, first this is my this is the path where the trace files are stored. Okay, 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 now I have updated the trace file identifier. Fine, now I'll turn on the SQL time statistics, and I will turn on the SQL tracing at session level. Okay, done. Now I will uh, execute this insert statement. Okay, now I will disable the SQL tracing here. Fine. Okay, now we can see here two new trace files are generated. These are the new ones for my session. Okay, let's open that. You can see like lots of infos are written. Yeah, this is the trace file. Okay, now we will interpret it into a TKPROF report. Okay, TKPROF also can be used with parameters. Okay, some with some options like weights. It specifies TKPROF to record summary for any weight event found in the trace file. The values are yes or not. The default is yes. Also there is sorts. Explain, for explain determines the execution plan for each SQL statement in the trace file and writes the execution plans to the output file by issuing explain plan statement. Okay, but we'll use the default option. We will not use these options. It will write most of the info including weights and all and actual execution plan in the TKPROF report. Okay, the command is TKPROF, then your trace file name, then any name you can give like test. Okay, now my report will be generated. Let's check in the dump directory. Yeah, this is my TKPROF report. Okay, okay, so you can see this is my SQL statement, the insta statement that I have fired. Here lots of infos are recorded like purse count, execute count, fetch count, CPU time, elapsed time. Okay, this kind of infos are written here. Okay, and also this is the actual execution plan. You can see the row source operations here, and these are the wait events. Okay, so all these infos are captured, and also some infos like misses in library cache during parse optimizer mode, parsing user id. Okay, now this is the TKPROF report. In the second video I will interpret this TKPROF report, and maybe some we'll discuss about some more in detail. I'll go through each of them, like what this means, what the CR means, PR means, okay, or what this wait event means. I will discuss. Okay, and so what happens, like this is a small query. You can see the CPU time equal to 0.04, but the elapsed time equal to 0.20 second. That means elapsed time is much larger than the CPU time. That means the query has waited for some time due to some wait events. So we'll discuss all of this in the second video. Okay, so in the second video I'll be interpreting the TKPROF report. Thank you.